Okay, viewers, will be discussing on a topic which is very much controversial and important and very much relevant for this time, the relation between science, philosophy and religion. Okay, let's start. What is science? As a former science student, I know and you also know that science is based on observation. We also have some another way of attaining knowledge other than observation is argumentation, which we call shortly as argument. And we have another source of knowledge, which is belief. People of different disciplines usually do think that belief and knowledge is mutually exclusive. Knowledge has proof and belief is without proof. But as a student of epistemology, I know that, and all of the philosophical literature on epistemology, it's widely used and we know it very well that knowledge is justified through belief. Knowledge is a belief, but not mere belief, not only belief. It has truth basis and it is justifiable. That is called JTB, justified through belief. Well, we'll be discussing that belief also a source of knowledge and higher source of knowledge. Then who do have knowledge? Knowledge is a product, knowledge is the outcome, knowledge is concern of a cognitive agent. Who is cognitive agent? Who has question is a cognitive agent. We don't think that the book has question, though the book may contain so many questions that the reader is concerned about. The glass of water has no question. The table has no question, the trees has no question, at least we don't know about it. When we say about cognitivity, about knowledge, we actually mean the human beings who do have some question. Maybe the question is right, maybe it is wrong, maybe the answer is right, maybe there is no answer to the question, maybe the question is not relevant. Anyway, putting a question, asking a question, have some query, is the proof that the person is a cognitive agent. So as cognitive agent, on basis of our observation, we trying to find out the answer. Science works in that way. Science deals what and operates in the how process. For an answer of scientific investigation, the researcher, the scientist do show and bring to us some observations. He produces some results of observation. He claims something on basis of observation. Observation is the criteria and basis of whatever he knows. So, a scientist, what question is answered in the how format. But in philosophy, the what question is dealt with the why question. Why? Why it is this way other than another way? And in dealing the what question in the why way, why format, philosophy doesn't, neglect or do not cancel the how process. It is a wide, misunderstanding about philosophy, that philosophy regrets and philosophy undermines the scientific process. Actually, philosophy goes beyond the scientific process. So at a stage, philosophy separates from science in the way that it goes beyond the level of science. One interpretation is that I don't need any observation, I don't need any process, just contemplate and think and it's philosophy. No, it's not philosophy. Philosophy is in a concerned issue on the topic what the observation tells us, what the researchers, what the specialist, scientist, we can say about it. And then philosophy proceeds further on with more fundamental questions, with bigger with bigger aspects of the issue. Philosophers want to dig in the deep. That's why they proceed on to uphold the next level of knowledge, that is the why it is that. So a how process cannot answer the why question. Philosophy deals with the why question. So dealing the why question, philosophy produces so many alternatives. On basis of observation, a same data can be used to make different theories, even counter theories, contradicting theories. Contradicting claims could be made on basis of the same observation. So philosophy uses the way of argumentation. On basis of argument, that is plausibility, acceptability to us as cognitive agent, we try to fix some answers. So philosophy always gives a person some answers, not one answer. And in science also we see that there are so many explanations. The explanation which is widely supported or more supported by observation is more accepted to the scientific community. Anyway, in philosophy there are arguments. So on a topic there is no one single philosophical answer, philosophical alternative. There is so many answers, so many alternatives, plural. So philosophical findings always plural. So in such a counterbalance situation, when every option each option do have some argument support, then what the person will do? The person will make a choice, pick someone. So when as a person, as a philosopher, we pick someone on basis of argument in a situation that the rest of others also do have argument and reason, but whatever I am taking seems to me that it is more acceptable or it is actually the answer, the alternative to the question. Whenever we do it, what is the source, what is the force that pushes us from within that this is better or this is the only right, or you go for this one, you make a choice. In abduction, abductive knowledge, logic, we say it argument infers to the best explanation, IBE. Among the explanations, someone picks one explanation, another one picks the other explanation. So, living in the same world, getting almost the same experience, our views and our ideologies, our philosophical positions are different and sometimes opposing to each other, contradictory. Why it happens? Why it happens? Why philosophy has failed to give one answer to any question? We know that philosophical discussions are always paradoxical. That means it is counterbalanced. It is counterbalanced. If you say something, it must have some argument, but we see that the others, another person comes with some argument, also supported by argument, which differs with my position, even which cancels my position. So the peculiarity, the paradoxical nature of philosophy actually is a grace to mankind, is an opportunity for us that we can make a choice. We can apply our freedom, we can apply our conscious, we can apply our cognitive capacity. So observation is there, argument is there. Then why do we go ultimately at the end of the day for one option? Why? It is our mentality, it is our attitude, which is called in epistemology as belief. Our belief finally plays the role. It finally kicks the ball and it takes the shot, and the person goes for something actually on basis of belief. So one belief which don't have any observation, have no argument support, is dogmatic belief. But another kind of belief which is based on observation, which is supported by argumentation, is what we call in epistemology knowledge. So you see that science works through observation. Science, gets support from observation. Philosophy works through argumentation. It gets support from arguments. And religion, it is based on belief and it gets support from belief. So we see that in the primary level, science is a must. But dealing the what question, science involves in the how process. But as cognitive agent, we instantly involve ourselves, we find ourselves in a situation that we are not contented. We have more questions. We want to proceed on why this process. Then philosophy gets its start. But at the end of the day, philosophy is not meant to give you one answer, one right answer, correct answer. Instead, philosophy helps someone to find a correct answer, and it shows the alternatives. And our alternatives are not infinite. Our alternatives are very much finite. So in some limited options, we must go for one option. And what is that thing that drives us from our within to pick some specific option rather than other options? It is our belief that plays the role, the key role. And religion deals with the religion works through this process. So we know that belief is a core of religion, but the popular misunderstanding is that belief, is something which needs no observation, no argumentation. Not that. In the second phase, if we relate all these things to Islamic religion, Islam, we see that Allah has said in the so many verses of the Quran that you observe all the empirical facts around you, the rising of the sun, your bird, the trees, the fruits, all these things empirical. We know that the bulk of the Quranic surahs, most of the surahs are Meccan surah that has been revealed in Mecca. And in Meccan period there was no exclusive Sharia, all these things. Only Tawheed, Risalat, Akhirat, core. And in the 10th of prophethood, when the Prophet Muhammad started, has got his revelation first, in the 10th year of prophecy, he went to the Miraj, which you call to God, and to meet him, and got the injunction, got the order to pray 5 times a day. And except this thing, nothing was compulsory in Meccan period. Then why do the companions that were become Muslim in the Meccan period are considered as the far more better persons? Because of their understanding, because of their iman, because of their depth, strength in their aqidah, and that was centered within the core of Islam, Tawheed, Risalat, Akhirat. And in the discussion of Tawheed, Risalat, Akhirat, we always see in the verses after verses that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is relating person to his observation, to his experience. And then he puts the arguments. So, religion, if I confine myself to Islamic religion, which I know better, much more, Islam, whatever the core of Islam, the Iman, the Aqidah, is a philosophical outcome. You know, in metaphysics, what is the ultimate stuff of reality? Is there any ultimate? Is there any real? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the real. Without the God, the world is nothing, non-existent. So, whether the God is one or plural, or whether God has, God has come down to the earth as avatar. So, among all these options, Islam confines itself with one position. That position is that God does exist, which is a metaphysical question. God is one, which is a metaphysical question. God has sent, revelation to guide mankind, which is philosophical. We may say that it is social philosophy, considering society as a part of nature and considering the Sharia as the revealed way of life of a person or the human being in a social context. And God is the creator and cherisher of the nature. No matter we agree or not, all these questions, all these issues are core philosophical issues. And very metaphysics, we know that the core of philosophy, these are the metaphysical questions, and Islam gives some answers to this question. And without Islam, in mainstream philosophy, we deal with the questions and we get this answer, we get another answer, alternative answers. As a believer, I go for specific one option. And why do I go for that option? Why do I am a believer? Maybe just I am a believer, that's why I am a believer, without any reason, without anything else. I think whimsically it appeared good to me, then it is good. This may be way. This is dogmatic. This is the way that people, portray the people of religion, the religious person. But I am a religious person. I follow my religion because my observation drives me, pushes me to adopt some argumentation, to have a more specific answer, to deal with more powerful question, why question, and I don't find any answer to the why question, but when I come to know about revelation, I read the Quran and I come to know about the life of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, then it seems to me that it's good for me, it's better argument and it is acceptable. That's why I accept it. So, in the conclusion of our discussion, science, philosophy and religion, let's summarize it. Science works on observation, and observation leads us to argumentation, and argumentation becomes a decision or a knowledge when it is based and mixed up with belief. So observation, argumentation and belief, all these things makes something as knowledge. But with the same observation, there are different arguments and there are so many levels of aptitude, human aptitude or attitude, or simply we can say that belief. That's why the items are so many. If you change in the recipe, then the item will be a new item. So on dealing, when we deal with our observation, we put some specific argument, we have some specific attitude toward life and everything, then our knowledge is some specific, your knowledge is another, and others' knowledge is another. So living in the same world, we have different knowledges, and the disciplines give us different knowledge. So religion is such a discipline that it is very much natural that people will differ to each other. But when you come to philosophy, your options become limited. You have to put argument. And when we come to science, your option is actually much more limited, because you have to show your observation. That's why the people who call them as Bigyan Monoshko, pro-science, actually which I call them scientist, Bigyan Badi, they say that because science gives us very specific answer, it differs much less than other subjects, then we should go for science. Science gives us very specific answer because science deals with a very limited area, how it happens, on basis of observation. But when we put the fundamental question why it happens, science becomes puzzled. It is not the issue of science to answer the why question, because to answer the why question you need to adopt argumentation. And argumentation and observation is not the same. Though they are not contradictory, but they are not the same identical. So argumentation is wider scale, and argumentation process gives you so many options, but as a human being you have to go for a specific option. You can say that I'll not be agreed with any position. If you do not agree with any position, then you will be forced to a position which we call nihilist position, or agnostic position, or a skeptic position. So philosophy has more options than science, and religion has more options than philosophy, in the sense that philosophy is not prescribing, but when you pick an option, you contradict with the teaching of philosophy, with the core of philosophy, because in philosophical discussion you cannot cancel something which has argument support. But in take any issue, there are so many philosophical schools and thoughts and theories contradicting with each other, different with each other, and each group, each point, each school, each theory has its own argument. So as a philosopher, when you are an empiricist, you cancel all the rationalist argument. When you think that rationalism is better, you cancel all the arguments of empiricism. But as philosophy teachers, we know that philosophy has argument support in all of its alternatives, with all of its alternatives. So as philosopher, when we go for one option, you violate the freeness, you violate the dogma free characteristics of philosophy. But you have to, you cannot go on, you cannot finish a philosophical task without any position. You can take a class on philosophy showing that these are the options, but as a human being, ultimately you must identify yourself with one position. And the students they also have to identify, or each student has to identify himself or herself with one position or some specific position. But when you identify with a specific position, you violate the basic freeness, basic non-dogmatic characteristics of philosophy. Then why do we do it? What is the solution to this paradoxical dilemma? Actually, as human being, our cognitivity is based on our belief. That means on our willingness, on our attitude. So, in our future epistemological discussion, we must accept belief as the fundamental, core identifier, justifier in our knowledge appraisal. And last of all, I'll say this is stunning information that BELIF, belief, is the most frequently used word in any text of epistemology, in any write-up epistemology. From anywhere you pick a book, a text, or an article, or whatever on epistemology, and give word search, writing the word belief, you will see that most frequently used word is belief. But even the philosophy students and academic staffs are not aware of this very influential element in our knowledge forming process, that is the belief. And I'm saying this because religion bases on belief, but that belief could be dogmatic belief, or that belief could be on basis of observation and argumentation. If belief is based on observation and argumentation, then it's acceptable belief, it's knowledge belief, it forms knowledge, which more than 2000 years earlier Plato has said with one of his disciples that knowledge could be justified true belief. But in 1963, Edmund L. Gettier has written an article, very tiny 3-page article, Is Justified True Belief Knowledge? He has successfully shown that in some cases something has become true luckily. But according to the JTB account of knowledge, that lucky guesses also counts as knowledge, but we know that knowledge is not lucky guess. So what is the solution? So there are so many proposals to correct the JTB proposal, but there is no agreement among the epistemologists about the definition of knowledge. And actually this very question of Gettier, is justified true belief, has initiated the starting of contemporary epistemology. We can say that in the mid-20th century, contemporary epistemology has got its start, though epistemology or knowledge was from the very beginning of philosophy, because the philosophy word, the very word philosophy is based on knowledge. We know that philos and sophia, two Greek words, has combined to phrase the word philosophy, that is love for wisdom, love of knowledge. So knowledge was concerned of the thinkers, human beings, or what we call them, philosophers, from the very beginning, from the Greek period or from even earlier period. Actually we don't know, that's why we say that it has been started from the Greek period in the Western tradition. Contemporary epistemology is concerned to purify knowledge, to make it safe, because Gettier has shown that knowledge claims are vulnerable to lucky guesses. Then how to do it, we don't know. This discussion is going on, and with this discussion we are clear about the relation between science, philosophy and religion. Lastly, the relation is actually hierarchical, not horizontal. Not science or philosophy, not philosophy or religion, but actually science is a must, and it leads us, it pushes us to the next level, to the why question on basis of argumentation, that is philosophy. And philosophy, exercise of philosophy is nothing if we do not accept any philosophical position. And whenever we take a philosophical position, we take it on basis of our belief or belief system. Religion is nothing but a belief system. Thank you.